Hello. Welcome to Expansions with me. I'm Jane. This is Promise Resource Network. And I just realized that I have not put on here what this is. So I am getting ready to do that right this now. There we go. Awesome. So this is one of my favorites. So we get to dive into and expand the spiritual dimension of wellness. And I'm really excited to talk about the stuff today that is in my mind and heart. And I'm also open to whatever anyone else has to share, to bring to the table, to chime in with, to add. Um, but what I want to share today is very etheric and a little heady. Um, but whatever, that's me. So I'm going to give everyone a moment to tune in while I light my sage. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wow. Hi, Mom. My mom just tuned in and said, hey, I'm feeling such a really good feeling, very nostalgic, because I just looked at photos that she sent me of the family for my nieces, my great nieces, actually, first birthday party. So light yourself some sage, y'all. Light your Palo Santo. Light your incense. Get into this spiritual ritual of whatever calls to you. And maybe that ritual is tuning in. Hey, Charles. And maybe that tuning in is tuning into Promise Resource Network. Maybe that tuning in is tuning in with your breath. Maybe that tuning in is listening to the droning kind of sound of my voice. Wherever you are, tune in. Tune in to all that you are. Tune in to the body that you have, whether it feels really good and limber, or if it feels like crickety and achy, or if it feels like anything in between. Just tune into it and just feel it and be aware of it. I want to say, hey, Kelly, how are you? Oh my gosh, I was thinking about you the other day, and I was like, I want to call Kelly, see how he's doing. So I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling really good. Hey, oh my gosh, so many people are hopping on. I'm so excited. Hey, good evening, Lauren. How are you? And Kim is here. Yeah. I'm like, y'all get like waves. I would stand up and it'd be like crotch shot, and that would just be awkward. You'd be like, those are cute jeans, though. True. They're mom jeans. Literally, my mom gave them to me. They're fantastic. Elastic. Anyway, yeah, y'all. It's the spiritual aspects of all the things good that I want to tune into and expand today. So, here, I would like for y'all to play with me for a second and try something. So, yesterday on Body, Mind, Spirit, I talked about just taking a break, taking space, taking time off from whatever it is we normally do to reconnect, to reconnect with our mind, with our body, with our spirit. So I want to kind of take that topic and expand upon it to the spaciousness of spirit, to the spaciousness of consciousness, to the void, to the is of all that is, to the nothing that ever is or was, just spaciousness. So if y'all will play a little game with me, this game called Experience. I just got twisted up. There we go. All right. So, isn't it lovely? Good evening, Sharon. So hopefully you can hear this okay. Start to breathe. Okay. Start to feel your breath as the skin on my face, with the way the sunlight just changed, got really red. It's not weird at all. I look like an Oompa Loompa now. Start to connect with your breath. Connect with the way it flows in and out. And if you can soften your eyes or close them for this next part, feel the way the air flows up into your nose and out of your nose. Feel the temperature of that air on your upper lip. Now feel the air around you on your skin. Feel the weight of your clothing on your body. Can you feel the weight of your body on the earth? And as you breathe in and out, can you feel the way your lungs expand and contract? Breathing in the very breath of life, letting divine inspiration flow through you with every inhale and exhale. And as you have this acute awareness of the air flowing in and out of your body, with the weight of your clothes on your body, you can feel the skin on your vessel. Now I invite you to feel the air on your skin. Can you feel where your skin and air make contact? Breathe into that. And as you maybe feel the air on your skin, maybe you notice that you can't really feel where your skin ends and the space you're occupying begins. Continue breathing and just feeling the spaciousness of you. Perhaps you lose the sensation of how small or how big you are. Rather, you start to become more aware of the space that you take up. Every time you breathe in, you feel a little bit bigger, wider, broader. You start to feel light in your weight, easy in your skin. Taking a big, full breath in and exhale it out. Come back to this now moment. Bring all of your awareness into now, into your body, into the electricity coursing through your brain, through your nerve endings, feeling your blood move through your body. Feel the weight of your body on this earth. Call all of your energy back into you. All of the thoughts that you've had today, the experiences that you've had, the interactions with every human being that you've had today, call all of you back into this moment, into this present now. Together we take a big breath in and just let it go. And I'm curious what that felt like to you. Because I have stuff that I want to talk about and share, and I'm curious what you felt. What did it feel like to feel the space? Could you feel the space? Did you feel expanded? Did you feel small and contracted? What did you feel or sense during that little exercise? If you'll let me know, that would be great. So I want to talk about the space, that nothingness, all the in-between, all of the in-between. I'll give you a moment. Hey, Kim. Awesome. Kim says, expanded me. Expanded. Yes. I'm so glad you're joining. I'm glad you shared that. Whenever I pause and just connect back with my breath and start to just feel the outermost parts of my body with the space that my body is in, I start to lose the sensation that differentiates the two. I start to lose sensations of pain or discomfort in my body. They start to alleviate and lighten up. And I start to feel bigger, almost like I am the size of, I don't even know what, but bigger than Jane. And I don't necessarily feel like I have hard boundaries in my form. So I'm really curious if anyone else, what you felt, what you experienced, if you did it, if you didn't do it, if you're like, I'll do it later when I can. But I'm really curious. Yes. Thank you for sharing, Lauren. Lauren says, I'm feeling my infinite self, meaning I can't feel where I stop and the outside of me begins. This is a theme that has come up for me today. Just a reminder of as above, so below. Yes, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like I am so acutely aware with my senses. I'm very acutely aware of my thoughts, my emotions, my energy, my fascia, my body, my bones, like everything. I'm just sensitive. And it's really pleasing to me to be able to get out of that and just feel the light, the energy that I am, and only feel that. It feels really good to me. I get out of my mind. Do y'all see how this color is changing on this screen by chance? I know it's a conversation with Flash, but I feel like the color is just doing a thing. I'm like, I keep looking like I turn red and then like not. Anyway, thank you for sharing that. And I have a feeling around the as above, so below that you shared, Lauren. Would you mind expanding on that? What does that, what reminded you of that statement? And this is also open to anyone else. Like when you hear the term as above, so below, what does that mean to you? What does that even mean to you? I'm curious. I feel like for me, it feels like everything is a reflection. It's like when you're walking and you're at a lake and you can see the reflection of the sky and the trees on the lake. Like everything that's above it's just like that below it. But what's in the lake is a whole other life, like community. it's different. It's a reflection. Anyway, I'm curious if you'll expand on that. I would like to know. Let me move this a little closer. Okay, there we go. So I want to talk about space and the void. So I've been doing studies around just consciousness, really, for the past years. And, kind of playing in what consciousness is to me. And to me, consciousness is an infinite space of information, of data, of energy, of fields, of light, of photons, of energy. And this infinite consciousness, it's like the space in between. It's this infinite space. It's kind of like when I look up at the sky, if there are no clouds, right? By the way, pollen is legit right now, y'all. Hence the no eye makeup, because apparently I gotta rub my eyes a lot because of pollen. Anyway, which is crazy cool because I can see the pollen flying in the air. Anyway, so when I'm looking at the sky, when there are no clouds above, I see blue. But that blue has a depth to it that I can't even fathom. I can't tell where it gets further and where it's closer. As soon as it's beyond me, literally, this is the sky, this is the space. And from here up, it goes to, the atmospheres and the atmospheric levels and the magnetosphere and the ionosphere and into space. And it just keeps going forever. Ever. Right? This space that's around us goes on forever. And this space is what in the Tantra teachings is taught about to kind of tap into and be in and experience so that we get through life on a clear, paved spiritual path. I want to talk about that. Lauren says, about as above, so below. She says, everything is all connected from the farthest reaches of space all the way down to the smallest atom or building block of life as we know it. Where does it stop? Does it ever stop? Right? I don't think it does. I was just, so if some of you may know that I totally nerd out with like sacred geometry and like the Mandelbrot set and the Fibonacci sequence and frequencies and all the things. And I was just watching something around the Fibonacci sequence, which is a math equation that it shows itself in everything in life. Anyway, so I was watching the Fibonacci sequence and it was kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller down to the quarks that are in the nucleus of an atom. And it expanded so big that like we could see each galaxy basically and the multi galaxies that there are, and that even if when they all cluster together to make like one rounded sphere of galaxies, that what's beyond that? Like what is beyond that? Even if there are no stars or galaxies, then there's still space that holds that, right? So, telling you, it's a very heady topic. It's out there because we're so focused on the things that are right here in front of us. It's really hard for us to even grasp the notion of something itty bitty, teeny tiny, down to each atom within ourselves, each other, the table, the wall. Like it's hard for us to grasp it because we can't really see it, or it's not quite tangible for us. And then when it gets too big, we also have a hard time grasping it. It's like we know how big the earth is, like we get it. But then when someone says, hey, all the plastic trash that's in the ocean, like literally could go around the earth like 500 times, like that's such a grand, big number that it's hard to grasp. So we start to lose touch with a very real part of reality, right? We lose touch with the space in between, the thing that isn't an action. It's not a thing. It's just the is. And to me, that is what spirituality is. It's that it's not just what spirituality is. It's a part of spirituality to me. But that space, like that to me is what keeps me sane. So I'm curious, what do you all like? Do you have any thoughts, feels, ideas, notions, anything that comes to your mind or heart when this comes up for you? There's, if you ever read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, I think it's like book 3 and 4. Maybe it's book 1. I never know because I don't read them in order because it's in one book and I just kind of, anyway. I think it's the first chapter, the first book. Anyway, it's all about this stuff. It's all about this like esoteric kind of stuff. So I want to read you all something. And some of you may have heard this before. I was going to read a couple different things. Okay, I'll read this one. So the book is from the Yoga Spandakarika. It is a tantric text. that was translated by Daniel Odier. It looks like oh dear. But anyway. So this was written by Tao Sin, which I would have to look up what that is, who that is. But either way, it says, the body and the mind, in their slightest movements, are forever found at the place of awakening. Our behavior itself is the awakening. There is no other Buddha than the heart. All phenomena are nothing but the heart. Dwell in this state of consciousness, and all the knots of passion will untie themselves naturally. In a grain of dust, all the worlds can be found, and all the universes are contained in the tip of one of your hairs. There is no obstruction. Do not evoke the Buddha. Do not grasp at the mind. No mental strategies, nor reflections, nor meditative practice, even less distraction. Abandon yourself to the flow of things without restraining the thoughts. Everything is pure. The natural and immaculate clarity of the mind emerges. So that is stanza 11, which when the stanza itself says, how does this wonder-filled Tantrika, who always comes back to his own fundamental nature as the source of all manifestation, be subject to transmigration? These are the things that I read. So this space, right? And I would love to hear you all chime in on any of this, by the way. Because I feel like this is like a nerdy expansion for me. But when they talk about, like, don't grasp at the mind, don't grasp at this, that, the other, just be in that space, right? That space of the heart. Because if you look at any spiritual text, it's always about love. It just is. Like, call it this, call it that, call it God, call it Buddha, call it whatever. Because it was written Tao, it was Buddha, from the Buddhist texts. But the being in the complete spaciousness, we are not thinking about what am I doing? How am I doing this? How am I breathing? What's going on? Right? It was like in the meditation at the beginning, you were just being in awareness. You were literally being awareness. That was it. And if we can be in the awareness, be in that feeling of spaciousness, especially from the heart, we are living like the Buddhist life. We're living a life of Zen. We are living in a peaceful, like, being space. So that, why, right? So that when we go to the grocery store and we're tired of dealing with whatever in aisle 5, we don't care. We realize that that's just a manifestation of the same thing that I am, right? And then we can kind of let go. We can be in the flow. We can live our higher ascended selves life. We can live this recovered path that we've forgotten because we were in the program before, right? Glad you're loving this, Lauren. I'm glad you're here. When they talk about on here what all phenomena are nothing but the heart, what is it? God is love. Like, have y'all heard that? Like that's like a thing I think that people say. To me, source, like the energy, the source of all it is everything, and it is love. It is pure, like absolute, non-polarized love, unconditional, fully accepting. Like, that's literally the energetic quantification. If you look at an emotional relationship, like, that's what it is. So if everything is the heart, then wouldn't we just want to live in the heart and not be all about the mind? Which is why this goes back to taking a break, right? Because sometimes we need a break to just chill our mind out. And then we notice that our body starts to relax, Let me see what y'all are saying. See, Kimberly says, cool reminder that we are a walking prayer. Yes, every minute, breath, moment, and life. There's always purpose to what we do. What we do and who we are is divine always. Yes. Yes. I was just talking about this yesterday. And I don't know if I was talking about it on Body, Mind, Spirit, if I was talking about it to a human. I don't remember. So if I'm being repetitive, sorry. But I was talking about doing everything in devotion. Everything do in devotion. Like when I go to pump my gas, I'm doing it in devotion so that, I'm devoting to myself so I can travel with more ease, right? Not get stuck on the side of the road without gas. Everything I eat, I'm doing it in devotion to not only life for me, but to the lives that I get to touch or impact for the rest of my life. Every time I flush the toilet, this may sound weird, but I'm doing it with devotion, with gratitude, like thank you, earth and humans for shifting and alchemizing what I just flushed down there so that I will be able to have drinking water tomorrow. I know that sounds funky, but y'all know it's true. But doing every single thing in devotion, when you take a shower, you're doing every single thing in devotion, and we become this spacious being because we're doing everything from the space of the heart. That heart is the infinite. That eternal love that is within, it's eternal. It's forever. What's the difference between forever and infinite? We just attach a timeline to it. What is time? Getting from point A to point B. Samesies, right? So if this is the eternal energy, this eternal place of all the love, that means it's a well that never empties. We are that emptiness, that spaciousness that we feel that is on the outside of us. That exact spaciousness is within us. It is within the heart. That's why the Buddha and other texts always talk, not always, but most of them talk about doing everything from the heart, right? Y'all, this pollen. Legit. Charles says, I'm happy you're here. He didn't say that, I said that. Anyway, he says, it sounded to me just be or exist, accept what comes and or move with the flow of your surroundings. Yes. Yup. Pretty much. Yeah, just be, the Buddha always was about, like just be. He would climb up to the guru on the mountain and be like, yo, guru, like, I need peace. What do I do? And they're like, go meditate for 8 hours a day. And they'd be like, what? It wasn't, it was just to be, like, allow the time to be still, to be in that spaciousness, to let the answers come to you, right? To let the heart heal, to detach from attachments that maybe were unhealthy or not serving. Like, give yourself that time and space to be. It's huge. To me, that is the path. And then we can flow with the surroundings. If I am more of the mind and not of the heart, then when I have any conversation or communication with anyone, I'm not fully present. I'm not. Even though my mind is like, oh yeah, you're here. Look at this. See, it's annoying you. It's whatever. It's this, it's that. Or my mind is telling me what I need to be doing in the next 10 minutes or what I should have been doing in the previous hour. My mind, if I'm just of the mind, then I'm speaking just from that space too. Like, I'm not being my full infinite consciousness self. I'm not being my spiritual self, right? Like, when I think about my spiritual self, I think about this infinite part of me that has been with me, that I am, that has been with me since before I was ever born, and that'll be me, be a part of me, whatever, after like my vessel's all like dead and all back in the ground and stuff. It's this big, huge part of me. And that biggest part of me is the same thing as that source, that infinite, that love, the heart. So if I'm not coming from and being from that place of that being in acceptance, right? Going with the flow, being from that accepting space, then I am literally not fully showing up at all. Then like, what's the difference between like robot Jane and like just someone being all up in their mind? Like, to me, it feels the same. Feels like robotic. you know. This I thought was really interesting when in this text it says, let me go back. It said, "In a grain of dust, all the worlds can be found, and all the universes are contained in the tip of one of your hairs. There is no obstruction. Do not evoke the Buddha. Do not grasp the mind. No mental strategies, nor reflections, right? Nor meditative practice, even less distraction." So to me, that's like, first of all, can we just talk about how beautiful it is to even think that all the universes are in like a grain of sand, just like they are in the tip of like a piece of your hair? And it's true. Like you and I, we are all made of literal stardust. We are made of all of the elements and atomic bits in the entire universe. That's what we are. We hold all of that. And you can look down all the way down to that nucleus of the atom and the quarks and gluons that hold those little buggers together. And it's all a force of energy. It's all the space between the things that holds the things together. It's the space in between that's the important stuff. Without the space in between, we literally would be nothing more than matter. We would be nothing more than matter. That spaciousness, that consciousness, that bit in between, that's where, like, that's the good stuff, right? That's where all the magic is to me. And I want to hear what you have to say, Lauren. Hang on just 1 second. But the part that you know, talking about like there's no obstruction, to not evoke the Buddha, right? What does that mean? You know, don't call out, Buddha, come here, Buddha, you do this for me. Have y'all ever heard like anybody say like, oh, God will handle it? And they have no accountability or responsibility or any action for themselves because they put it outside of themselves for something else to take care of it. And they don't have the courage to do the thing in their own, like in their own path. Y'all ever heard people do that? I have. Don't evoke that. Like, don't call on the outside of you. Remember that you are the Buddha. You know, you are this love that the Buddha talked about. It's like Jesus, right? People talk about Jesus all the time, like, oh, Jesus will save me. Jesus is the savior. It's the love that Jesus was talking about. You are the savior. It's the heart. It's the love. It's that, like, that's the thing. So in this text, it's like, don't evoke the Buddha, you know, don't grasp at the mind. You know, what am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? What was going on there? We stop being present when we're always in the mind, second guessing ourselves, questioning ourselves, judging others, judging ourselves, living in fear, pointing out the wrongs in others, being in fear about anything, right? Well, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? Like, don't even go there. Don't even go there, it says. No mental strategies. What's that? Don't keep planning for everything outside of yourself because then you can't be present. Just like nor reflections, right? Don't live in the future. Don't live in the past. Be now. Be now. Be in that infinite now. Then you become spacious in nature, especially when you can go in the heart. Because the heart isn't going to have all these mental strategies and plans and reflections and chitter chatter that this incessant mind has that the human tends to live in, right? Even says nor meditative practice. I find this one hilarious. Oftentimes I see people that are like, okay, I'm just going to meditate. Okay, so guide the meditation and okay. And no, wait, what'd you say? Let me repeat. And so really it's like watching a TV show, and it can be more of a distraction than a space of being. The being that the Tantra talks about isn't being in like no mind zone. It's being in this now spacious space with all of your awareness present. It's like the meditation at the beginning of the hour. When I was talking, it wasn't to guide you away and then to come back. I wasn't like, travel here. There was no astral projections. It was literally feeling very much present in your body and still feeling the space outside of you, right? And it says in even less distraction, right? TV, video games, drugs, alcohol, sex, relationships, work, right? No distraction. Let me see what Lauren says. Lauren says, I think this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Tomorrow is my last day at my current job. I have a week off before I start my new job. I've been feeling like I need to plan something, and I've been a little stressed out thinking about it. But I think this time is meant for me to just be and reflect. Yes. 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 See? Woohoo! Yeah. First of all, big congratulations on quitting the jobby job. Like, I know from my own experience, for me, that was like one of the biggest, scary steps ever of my life. Couldn't be more excited because as soon as I did that, literally the doors of the universe like flew open and I got to meet the most amazing people that are still in my heart and on my path with me to this day. So I'm really excited and happy for you. And I think you're so spot on. This week that you've chosen to take off, it's to be. It's to be, you know, like when I took 11 days off to be. And the universe still gave me many things to do, like get a car and deal with stuff and all those things. And I noticed that my body felt better. My body felt better because I've been dealing with some physical stuff lately that hasn't been pleasant. And I think it's just giving ourselves that time, because when we have time, when we have a break, what do we tend to do? Fill it. It's like, okay, well, I have a week off. Okay, well, that means that, okay, so Monday I can get all this stuff done, and Tuesday, well, then I go ahead and take care of all this. And I get it, like, take care of the things you need to take care of. Like, I get that. And be in the spaciousness. Like, let yourself be present with the is that you is, you know, because the is that you is in this now moment is not the is that you will be in the next now moment. You know, we are forever fleeting in this universal system that we're in called I. I hope that made sense, because that just kind of came out. I'm sure it did. I like this. Goes back to what Charles said. It says, abandon yourself to the flow of things, right? Without restraining the thoughts. Let the thoughts come in. How often do we have a thought, right? Someone, you know, you're in the flow of traffic, right? Somebody cuts you off and you have a thought and you flip them off and you call them a turd burglar and you get all like mad, right? And then you go into your thoughts about it. I shouldn't have said that. What's wrong with me? That's what my father used to say whenever he would drive. And now, oh, I'm just like my father. And right? So then we all of a sudden get like sucked into this like thought vortex, totally out of the heart, just like all up in the headspace, as opposed to being with the thoughts, just being with the thoughts, right? Don't restrain them. Don't steer them. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to think that. I'm only supposed to think good thoughts. The sun is shining. The sun is shining. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Like restraining them in a way, because we're made to have the myriad of thoughts and emotions that come with them. So then, you know, think, okay, so someone, you know, you're driving, you're in the flow of traffic, someone cuts you off and you have the thought of, you turd burglar, how dare you, right? And instead of restraining the thought or changing the thought or judging yourself for the thought you have, you can just be like, damn, I just had a mean feeling thought. That didn't feel good in my heart. I'll be darned. I wonder what my heart feels like. Well, now when I breathe into it, it feels a little bit better. Well, now I actually feel like I love that person. Oh, that person is just like me, driving the best that they can. Okay. See the difference of how, like, you kind of just go with the flow of the thought and see kind of where it goes. Because I feel that when we're open to being with thoughts, truly being open with them and not restraining them or putting them in a box or compartmentalizing them or suppressing them or telling ourselves they should be different, or just mindlessly repeating the same thing over and over to ourselves to soothe the cognitive dissonance of maybe the reality that we're living in or that we're choosing to live in around us. But when we can just like let those thoughts just go and just follow where the thoughts go without judging them and see if they can go back to the heart. You know, there are definitely some times when I go into these thought loops and I'm like, I get aware of my thoughts. And yeah, I'm like sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, like 9 times out of like 9.5 times, it'll go back to my heart. But it's when I get like stuck in those loops, like, nope, I've decided I'm not ready to get over this yet. Nope, I'm still mad. I'm literally restraining the thoughts into being just mad thoughts, which means that I'm not allowing my thoughts to go further down into my heart. And that's where it all is. So then I cut myself off from my spiritual aspect, right? From my infinite self, from the love that I am. And then it says, everything is pure. So, you don't restrain the thoughts, you don't do this, you just be. Really, you just be. And then it says, then everything is pure, the natural and immaculate clarity of the mind emerges. And Lauren, I think that's where the magic will happen. If you allow yourself to be, then all of the beautiful clarity of the heart-led mind will come into focus. That's the way I see that. It's like when we can allow ourselves to be with the flow of thought, with the flow of action, with the flow of everything around us, right? Then it's like, oh, my heart is now, everything I'm doing is here. Oh, and then you can start to get clarity. And I'm telling y'all, my experience has been like connect the dots, like light bright style, where everything just switches on and I can see the whole picture immediately. When I allow myself to be still enough to take a break, to be in the spaciousness, which I'll go back to that, then I start to see all these things like, oh my God, well, when I was 5, this happened. When I was 6, this happened. 7, this happened. 8, this happened. Oh my God, I had a recurring life experience every year of my life, and I don't want to do that anymore. Well, now I get to make a choice. Okay. So now the clarity of my mind literally had space to emerge because my heart was like allowed to be its infinite self. Lauren says, I'm picking up what you're laying down today, girl. Yay! I love this esoteric stuff like a lot. I'm really glad that I get a platform to talk about it and y'all are with me. True story. When I was on the beach, I was laying there and the sand on this beach was super beautiful, almost white and like super fluffy, and which was really comfortable to lay on. And so I'm laying there on my belly and I'm just looking at the sand. And, each grain of sand, which did you know that sand is technically a size? Sand is a grain size, like boulder is a size. Sand is a size. Anyway, hey, Tina, glad you're here. But I was noticing, that each of these grains of sand were different shapes. They weren't all round, they weren't all jagged. They were all different types of like crystalline structure shapes from their erosion and this and that. And I'm like, dear God, like even if I had a handful, I wouldn't be able to count the grains of sand in there. I ain't got time for that, like at all. And just feeling so big at the same time of feeling so small with all of this sand, right? And then I took my happy ass into the ocean, which I feel it to be like the womb. I feel the ocean to be the mother's womb, full of all the fluid that, it is like the mama. Because she can hold you and she can also drown your ass in a heartbeat. She will throw you up on some rocks, whatever, right? But I got in that ocean and I let her hold me and I allowed myself to be as big as I was. I wasn't trying to be a ball. I wasn't trying to swim against the current or go with it. I was just being with her, with the ocean. And I had a conversation with her about all the things that I'm going through and growing through. And because I was in the spaciousness, I wasn't distracted by anything. And I was having this very heartfelt conversation. Next thing you know, clarity to mind. Heartfelt conversation, clarity to mind. And I came out and I was like, wow, everything just aligned for me. And then I started to get phone calls from people that I needed to hear from and like things aligning. And I'm like, oh, this is manifestation. Like this is the laws of the universe. This is physics at its finest. This is living the quantum world with my heart open. It was really awesome. But being in that, the bigness, that spaciousness. Kimberly says, the seasons of being, sometimes I want to focus on my health or healing my past, expanding, learning about galactic stuff, etc. Yes, the seasons of being. I was just thinking about this. Check this out. This is going to go into what Sharon just shared. I love saying that Sharon shares. I love it every time. Anyway, I was just talking about this yesterday, and I've been feeling it for a while. So I feel like, tell me what y'all think. I feel like 2020 was the longest winter ever. Like when I look back at 2020, like I know we had a spring, I know we had a summer, I know we had a fall, like I get it. And it felt to me like the longest winter. It was so much indoors. It was so much introspection. It was so much like when you're in that spaciousness, you can see like all the stuff, you can feel more. Stuff comes to light easier, clarity of mind. So I felt like 2020 was like the longest winter of all time. And then I was like, well, what's next? Spring. And I was like, dude, that's exactly what 2021 feels like. It feels like everything is blooming, blossoming, changing, like at a really fast, rapid rate. And so it kind of goes along with what you just said, right? Like, that it is like there are the seasons of being, I think yearly, like cosmic years, we just started the new astrological year. That we have these seasons, we're in the age of Aquarius. It's a season of learning, of inventing, of like getting knowledge, creating something new, right? Seeing what doesn't work, get rid of it, learn new things, create new things. Like that's the season that we're in, this age of Aquarius. So I'm sure many of you are like wanting to learn more all of a sudden, like reading books, new things, taking classes, getting certifications, all types of stuff, and wanting to teach and share it even more. Ding, ding. And then we go through these phases, right, of all of this stuff. So it's like if we can be in the spaciousness of our heart during all of these phases, right, whether it's like Kim was saying, healing the stuff from my past. You know what? This is what I'm going to focus on this week. I'm called to healing the stuff from my past. Great. If you can be in the spaciousness of your heart, you're going to get the clarity of mind to heal the stuff from your past so much faster to move forward, right? If you want to, focus on your health, right? If anybody wants to join me on a cleanse in the next couple weeks, holla. I'm getting ready to do a 30-day cleanse, by the way. Anyway, but it's like, okay, I want to focus on my health. Well, if I'm doing it, if I'm like, I'm going to do this cleanse, I hate it, it's awful, then I'm grasping at the mind, right? I'm never going to get through this. This is awful. Now I'm strategizing. How am I going to get through it? If I wouldn't have eaten those pizzas last month, then I wouldn't be here now having to do this cleanse. Now I'm dealing with all the reflections. I'm not in the present now from the heart. So I feel like if we can, whatever it is we do, whatever the seasons that we're going through are, if we can be in the spaciousness of the heart, of unconditional love, in loving awareness, then we get through it so much easier. Was it Ram Dass had, I don't know if it was him, it was a mantra, and it was just over and over again. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am awareness, and I am loving. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness, and I am loving awareness. Anyway, I wanted to share that. Speaking of sharing, what does Sharon say? Sharon says, I feel most at peace when I'm with nature. Yes, anywhere outside. Because it's like you're just in bigness, right? You're just in the bigness. I feel that. I mean, anything in nature, I'm happy. I was able to spend like all day today and all day yesterday outside. I'll be outside all day tomorrow as much as I possibly can, other than a little bit of time that I'll take out to go into the art room and do something creative, and then do creativity at 10, and then love talks at 5. Anyway, yeah, Tina says last year, 2020, she says it didn't feel like it was anything but winter, right? It was just 2020, the longest winter ever. That lasted the whole 12 months. Yeah. And Sharon says, the last time I was in the ocean, she bounced me all around. We were having a wonderful time. People around thought I was in distress and came to rescue me. It was great while it lasted. That's funny. I'm glad you were okay. And I feel that though, like it's just nice to be able to just like let the ocean like pick you up and let you drop and move you around. And I noticed that when I was in there that my body was able to like move in all these ways that gravity keeps me from doing. And I move around a lot. Like I'm a wiggle worm and I'll all the time. But you put me in a body of water and like it's like I can do like back flips and all the things. There was one day that I had been at the beach. It was a nice day. I'd been in the ocean a little bit and then went back in to the house. Michael finished work and he and I went back down to the beach. And he was like, let's get in. And I had walked back I walked to the shore and I was like, nope, it's not safe. It didn't feel good. Nope. Like it was like the ocean was giving me this like intuitive message, like you can get in and I'm going to kick your ass. And and then I like looked online and it was like, don't get in the ocean, like warnings. And I was like, okay, good. Now there was a storm a brewing somewhere. I don't know what it was. But I was able to be in that spaciousness. And sometimes, y'all, the spaciousness that we're talking about in the Yoga Spandakarika, it can feel, and I'm just going to put this out there, like it can feel scary, especially if you're not used to it. If you're not used to feeling the presence of spaciousness, it could feel like you're untethered and like you're not safe. You could feel unsupported and afraid. And then I just want to remind anyone who feels those things that it's okay and it's normal and it's fine, no judgment. And go into your heart. If you go into that just spaciousness of being, whatever that is, whether it's, you're out in the middle of a field and you just feel like that kind of like really small and also kind of really big and kind of really supported and kind of really alone, like all those things. Like it's okay. Go back into your heart and remember that all of the universe is within you and that you are just as mighty and powerful as the universe is. And you can also humble your ass by looking outside of yourself and being like, wow, I'm just a speck. I'm literally a grain of sand. I am a drop in the ocean. I'm less than a drop in the ocean. I'm a milla drop in the ocean. But go into your heart and keep breathing with you and remind yourself that you're safe and you're secure and you're held by the earth, by the divine, by God, by your higher self, whatever it is you got. I encourage you to go back into your heart, because sometimes when we go into that space of like fear or that feeling of like, I don't feel safe, right? I feel not like you really are unsafe, but like the mental like fears from like history, trauma, lived experience, life. Like go into your heart, please, because that spaciousness of just being, there's a lot of magic that happens. And that mental clarity that does come up, it is clear. It's like knowings happen, for me anyway, like knowings happen and they're like surrounded and encased with like love and compassion and grace. When I get these mental clarities of like, oh, so when my mom did this, it's because her mom did that to her. Oh shit, it's because her mom did that to her. And instead of me being like, oh, the reason my mom did this to me is because her mom did this and her mom did, and they couldn't even stop the cycle. It doesn't come like that. It comes with like, oh, that's why. Oh my God, my mom did all that because of her mom. And oh, I feel so much love for her that she like was transmuting all that she was and living through the stuff that she was. Like there's so much grace and love and compassion with the heart-centered mental clarity that comes when you're allowing yourself to be in the spaciousness of you, of the universe, of the infinite consciousness, of the void, right? Of that life force, the force that holds it all together. Be with that, Yes, Lauren, I am loving awareness. I'm telling you, it's one of the best mantras ever. I am loving awareness. I will say that over and over again, like in a japa meditation where I do it like 108 times. And at some point, like tears will start flowing. I'm just like, I'm alchemizing something. And it just feels divine. It just feels good. I am loving awareness. I'm going to put that on here. Boom. Look at that. Yeah. I am loving awareness. Like, that is the spaciousness. You know, like I've studied quantum physics and metaphysics and energy and spirituality for almost 20 years now. And that spaciousness, allowing yourself the space to be in the space of spaciousness, is an integral part of humaning that's not supported in the system and the program. The system and program tells us to just work, just do, just work, just do, clock in, clock out, get your insurance, get your paycheck, buy the things, buy more things. The system doesn't tell us that it's okay to just chill the F out and to be and to breathe and to be in the flow and to stop judging everything and to actually, you can accept stuff. You know, to let go of these notions that an outside savior is going to save your ass. Rather, the stillness will save your ass. Your own stillness. Then you go back into the heart. Tina says, be still and know. Be still actually means to let go, to surrender. It is the beginning of awareness for me. Yes, surrender. That's a part of it, right? Like, to surrender to something, you kind of have to accept it. You know, and it's not like, oh, well, there's a war. I guess I'll just accept it and surrender. Not going to fight for social justice. It's not like that, right? It's not like that. It's surrendering to the fact that maybe the is of what is, and the reality that I want is something different. And so then I get the clarity of the mind to know which direction to move for the future reality that I want to manifest, that I want to create, that I want to live and play in. Yes, I think that is such a big beginning. Just like surrender. Charles says, I remember a couple times when I felt small. Once in Montana in the open plains, 180 degrees of sky, and in the ocean 10 miles out beyond the horizon in a little boat. Ooh, you realize the smallness you really are, almost the opposite of claustrophobia. It really is, right? There's almost this opposite feeling of like, I am so small. It's like, have you ever just like looked outside where it's like super dark and you can actually see stars and planets and satellites, all the satellites? That was my not so happy face. It's on the highest good. But and then you're just like, oh snap. Like each of those stars is like its own everything. Each of those lights could be its own universe. You know, each of those lights, can they even see the light that I am? Can they see the light that Earth is? You know, and God, I can see all those stars and all that I can see. Can they even see me, or am I too small? Yeah, it's definitely the opposite of claustrophobia. I wonder what that's called. There's got to be a name for that, right? The opposite of claustrophobia, like bigophobia. I don't know, expandophobia. I think so, actually. I think expandophobia is the thing. Anyway, y'all, I am so grateful. I just noticed the time. I am so grateful that you hopped on here and have been chatting with me and expanding this super like esoteric, out there, spacey topic, the Tantra. It's what it is. I'm really grateful for you. Congratulations, Lauren, for quitting your job. I'm excited for you. I'm really happy that each of you have experienced spaciousness, and I'm really grateful that we all get to experience more together. So continue loving yourself, loving each other, take time, take breaks, find the space you need to feel the space that you are, and know how loved you are. Please don't forget that. So I will see you all tomorrow when we do something creative at 10, and tune in at 5 for Love Talks. Michael and I are going to talk about, like, what does it look like if you need to take a break from your partner or any relationship, right? You need to take a break, a sabbatical. Anyway, I love you all. I will see you all on the mañana. Bye, y'all.